Hello everybody, Spegtacular, the Silverstacular is here with a fake trade dollar. Now I do have two because one trade dollar is real and one is completely fake. Now I got the trade dollar, the fake one, from Daniel from COINHELPU. COINHELPU is also a YouTube channel, and he's a great guy, Daniel is. He makes really good videos on different things about the coin hobby, being a coin dealer himself. You get a lot of insight. I'm going to have a link down in the description so you can look at Daniel's video that actually shows off which one of these is fake. But we're going to go through right now and we're going to do some tests to see what we can do if we have a coin to see if it is fake or not. So when I seen the video from COINHELPU, I couldn't help but reach out to Daniel and ask if I could go ahead and get that fake coin. Here's a message that he sent me along with the coin. It says, it has some silver, but is obviously fake, but a good one. I bought it sight unseen, and when I removed the slide, I knew something was wrong. If you look under magnification, you can see all the tiny pimples and other flaws. Daniel from COINHELPU. So Daniel, I really appreciate it. And again, check out the description for the link to Daniel's YouTube page. He's a great dude. He helps out the community quite a bit. I really do appreciate his videos and what he stands for. Seems like a really honest guy. And check him out. Again, down in the description. Okay, so now we're going to go and try to figure out which one of these is real and which one is fake. It's nice to have a real one because then we can use that as a guide to help us find more information about the fake one. First thing I want to do is weigh them. And, you know, if you don't have a red book, this is a red book right here. It's just a United States coin book. This is an old one. This one says 2016. We're in 2020 right now. But it doesn't matter because a lot of these coins right here are, you know, these older coins especially, are in here and things don't change about them. You know what I mean? They still weigh the same amount through the different years. So this is a great source of information, these red books. So the first thing we're going to look at is the weight. It says they are supposed to weigh 27.22 grams. These are very similar to like a Morgan dollar or a Peace dollar. It has like the same kind of sizing and, you know, metal composition and things like that. Now they are a little bit older, and sometimes those older coins, the mints weren't the most fantastic and accurate, but you know, it is what it is. It's going to be close enough when we start measuring things like the metal content. We want to set it to gram, that's a scale, because we want a more accurate reading. So again, it's supposed to weigh 27.22 grams, ideally. Now, sometimes there's a little wear on the coins, etc., etc. But this right here is actually 27.2. Again, it should be 27.22. This is right on the money. Perfect. And you can actually look at the coin real quick, and there's not a lot of wear to it in most areas. The eagle on the back has plenty of feathers. You know, it's a good-looking coin, really. It's not a rare date by any means, but these right here, a trade dollar, go for a lot of money. So let's go ahead and weigh the other one real quick. The next one in the line. Again, 27.22 is where we should be. Now this one is 27.0, a little bit less. But I will say, when we look at it, we can see a little bit more wear. So the eagle right here on the back is missing some feathers, has some flat spots, a little bit more wear. There's some dinks out of the rim right here. You know what I mean? It's been through a little bit more. So that's to be expected to lose a little bit of weight. So really, with the weight test, both are doing pretty well, I will say. Next, I want to go ahead and check the diameter of them. Again, we can go to the red book, great source of information, and it says that the diameter should be 38.1 millimeter, okay? 38.1. So we'll get our handy little calipers here. Calipers, I got these from, I think it was Home Depot or Lowe's, one of the two. And simple, you know, it's a simple tool, and it definitely is a good tool to have if you're a serious coin collector. So first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and close it all the way. Let me go ahead and zero it out because now we're on 0. All right, perfect. And let's go ahead and check the diameter of this coin. So we're going to open her up, and we're going to set the coin right here in the little jaws of life. Make sure we're good. And we're at 38.07. And again, it should be 38.1. So hey, that's a really good number, 38.07. Can't complain about that. We'll take that one out and go ahead and do this one right here on up. And go ahead and get the jaws of life on her real quick. And be careful with these metal ones right here, because metal and coins don't go well together. You know what I mean? Like, coins are already metal and it will scrape it if you're not careful. Again, 38.03 should be 38.1 ideally. This is great. Both are pretty darn good when it comes to the diameter. So interestingly enough, both weight and diameter are good. So what's next? You know, most people would do these kind of tests right here because they're cheap. Those scales are like $2. The calipers are like 15 bucks, and they would be done. There's some other tests we can do though, and a little bit more of an expensive test right here. And this is how Daniel really got to the bottom of things, is when he brought out the Sigma Metalytics machine. Now this is supposed to test whether or not things fall within the accepted parameters of different metals of different coins. So gold and silver are some of the big ones this one tests platinum too, but we're going to go to the silver setting on this thing, and we got to come over here to where it says pre-1900 coins. This works for Morgan dollars, trade dollars, seated liberty, etc., but this is what this setting is for. Not for peace dollars. Peace dollars will have a different setting for that. Anyways, we're going to run calibrate. Okay, and it's ready to go. So what I need to do is put the coin on this little sensor right here, this green sensor, and see what comes up. So let's start with this one since it's the closest, and we're going to put it right in the middle. And now this little bar right here shows it in the middle of these brackets, and in the middle of these brackets is the accepted range for 90% United States silver. So that's where it is. Okay, now if it was to be outside of these brackets a little bit, it just means that you need more testing, right? Maybe you don't say for sure, that's a fake, but you know, you do a little bit more testing. And we're going through that when we're doing the weight and the diameter and things like that. And we got plenty more tests to come. So this one shows to be good, right in the middle. Now we're going to test this one. We're going to put it right there in the middle. And that was the issue. That's what Daniel found when he went ahead and tested it, is that it showed off to the right-hand side, which would seem like it suggests that some of it is made of silver, so it could have maybe a silver coating, and the middle is not. We can try to move it around a little bit to see if we get a different reading. Sometimes that does matter, but for this right here, it's not changing anything. So that kind of raises a red flag right there. It's interesting that the weight and the diameter were pretty good. Okay, so something's wrong. This one shows up to be perfect in the middle. This one, not so much. Here's something else we can do. I call this the ping test. And the glove is backwards, no big deal. But I want to go ahead and use it more to grip it than anything else. All right, bada bang. And now what I'm going to do is take another coin, and I'm going to slightly tap the coins and listen to what the ringing sound is, because silver tends to make a very unique and beautiful ringing sound. So we're going to listen closely, as close as we can here. So remember that sound. Here we go with the other one that shows to be good in the Sigma Metalytics. Let's ring them similar time here. Now, for some people, that's hard to tell the difference, but there is a noticeably different ringing sound. This right here has the silver sound that you want to hear, and it makes it easier if you have a coin that you know is real next to one that you're suspicious of, because then you can really tell the difference in those ringing sounds. There is another test we can do, and I love this one too. This is the magnet test, because sometimes with these fakes, they make them out of magnetic material. So it's easy enough to see if a magnet right here is a nice little rare earth magnet will stick to the coin. So if it sticks to silver, it is not silver. So you can see that it moves around on there. It's not sticking whatsoever. It's just, you know, free floating. So this right here is silver. A magnet would stick if it was, sticky, right? This is rolling off too. So at least that's a good sign with the magnet test. This is sometimes the first test you can do. It wouldn't hurt you to bring a small little magnet like this to a coin shop or maybe a pawn shop where stuff is a little bit more shady, just to see if you could easily check it with the magnet to see if it would stick or not. Because again, silver coinage will not stick to a magnet. Another test we can do real quick is called the slide test. And I find this one to be interesting too. Silver has a really neat property where it doesn't stick, right? Magnets don't stick to silver, but it will slowly kind of grip onto it and make it slide down a silver coin very, very slow. Let's see if I can show my point off right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the magnet at the top of the coin and let it just free fall down. So you can see the speed, and I got it at somewhat of an angle here. Maybe I should turn it this way. You can see the angle better, but you can see the speed at which it falls off. Okay, I would call that just a regular, regular speed. What you would accept gravity to do to a magnet if it was to be on top of a coin. No big deal. Now let's go to a coin that shows it to be 90% silver and see what we're getting here with the slide test. Again, pretty good angle. And we get a different kind of slide, don't we? We get a much slower slide. If you get the angle right, it works really well. You want about a 45-degree angle on this thing. We're gonna slide it. Can you see how slow it goes on that 45-degree angle? It goes pretty slow. If you really wanted to go crazy on this thing, is what some people always ask me to do. They're always like, how come you don't do the ice cube test? You could actually take some ice cubes, little bitty ones would be the best, just like little pieces of ice, and put them on a silver coin, right? Because silver is very conductive. In fact, the most conductive of metals out there. So a silver coin will just melt that ice right on down. Another test we can do is the displacement test, where you get a contraption, you put a string on the old coin there, and you put it in. It's a whole big ordeal. The biggest issue I have with those tests, right, is it requires water. Water can be damaging to coins, and here's an example right here. This right here is a glass of water. Believe it or not, this is real water. This is from a 8-stage reverse osmosis deionize, all kinds of cleaning your water machine, okay? This is about the cleanest water I can get here in Florida. And this is what I love to drink right here. This still has some problems, right? It's not 100% pure. This right here is a TDS meter. If you don't have one of these, it would be cool of you to get one. They're so cheap. You can get them on Amazon, wherever, dirt cheap. A little TDS meter stands for total dissolved solids, and it checks just the organic and non-organic material that's floating around basically in your water. Your tap water probably runs at about 100 or so TDS, maybe less depending on where you live. For me, it's right about 100 to 120. Depending on how clean they decide to clean that water on any given day. This water right here, this purified water, in spite of it being so pure, it still has about 15 on the TDS meter. So it's not totally pure. And so what you could have in there is little organic material, sulfates, sodium, all kinds of like little metals and organic material that's floating around your water. You don't want to put that stuff on a collector's coin. You do not. So that's why I do not recommend doing those tests to collector's coin. If it's silver bullion or something, maybe you could do those tests, but for actual collectible coins, I would not do those. Now, another great thing to do is visually inspect your coins, right? There's plenty of guides on the internet to kind of tell you things to look for in fakes or real coins. One of the biggest things to look for is basically sloppiness or doughiness of letters. So now I want to go ahead and point out some of the letters here. So let's look at states. That's an easy one. We got states here and we have states here. This first one right here that I'm going to point at is the one that I believe to be legit based on all the different tests. It is a legit coin. This one right here, the outer one, is not legit based on my tests. I want to look at the different letters. It's very, very hard to tell. Like I said, it was a good fake, but the letters have some slight issues, very slight, very slightly doughy. And again, when we go back to the two coins, this one right here, the outer one, would be a better quality coin because it seemed like it had less wear. So for some reason, when we look at these letters, it seems like the letters have more wear compared to over here. I mean, these should have a crisp kind of writing on it and lettering. And you can see this one right here is much more crisp than out here. Well, one thing I really noticed between the two that stood out is along the rim right here, those little little lines that come all the way around the coin. On the outer one, the lines look terrible. That would be a dead giveaway right there to me, is these outside lines compared to the inside lines, which are just really well done. They look beautiful. So that's one of the big differences I noticed. Now, Daniel said that through magnification, he could see some different issues going on, some little marks and all kinds of things. I mean, just overall, it's not bad, but there are some slight issues to the coin. Some weird marks right here on R. Maybe they kind of messed something up over there. I'm not sure. Now, the real fun part is, I believe, based on what I've seen, that this right here is not a 90% silver trade dollar. So what I need to do is get the old hammer and some kind of punch out, and I'm going to put a small little mark in there and see what the inner metal actually is. All right, so I'm back from hammering this thing up to death. You can see I got the star in there saying it's counterfeit. And then I went ahead and took the jaws of life and I went ahead and pried it open. Now, I found something very interesting. First of all, the color inside is silver in color. It was not brass. There was no golden, color inside. Very interesting, right? It's also very interesting that it came up close to 90% silver on the machine. It's a very soft metal. When I gripped into it, it gripped real easy and it tore open pretty darn easy. It's funny because you're like, oh man, he destroyed a real coin. But when you look at the wear that's on the coin, which is almost non-existent right here on the back, and then you put it up next to a real trade dollar and you see the crispness of the lettering on a real trade dollar versus this thing right here, which is like, they can't get it right. They can't get these tight little triangular, little peaks right here, like on the L's of dollar, on the T. They just cannot get it right, the counterfeiters. It's just such a crisp strike that has to be done to get those perfect. And when you look at the real trade dollar versus this, you really see the issues, which is, the print, the lettering. That's where it really comes out. This should be like a really strong back right here on it because it has all the feathers. It has like hardly any wear whatsoever, but yet it almost looks like the lettering is all worn out. But it's definitely not a real coin. This is not made by the U.S. Mint, or any of the mints in the U.S., I should say. All right, to try to dig just a step further, I'm going to go into measurement mode with the Sigma Metalytics Precious Metals Verifier. One thing I got to do is I got to hold this sensor select button down and then press the power button. And as it powers up right here, it should ask me to just remove the sample and run /calibrate, which once I do that, I am now in measurement mode. So once I am in measurement mode, it's going to test the resistivity of like the different metals. So I can put just about any kind of metal on there and a number is going to pop out at me. There are charts that you can follow online. They typically go with like a 20 degrees Celsius, which is lower than my room temperature right here. But it's going to give me an idea of the different resistivity levels of different metals that I put on here. So if I start seeing a big difference in one or two, then it's going to tell me that there's different metals within that coin. So I'm going to start by putting just 90% dollars on there. So this is a peace dollar, and the value is 2.20. And we're going to just go through these, what I believe to be all legit peace dollars and Morgan dollars right now to see the numbers. 2.09, so a little difference, a little lower on that one. And 2.04, a little lower on that one. 1.96, getting lower, aren't we? Getting lower. And then that was a peace dollar. And then one more Morgan dollar, 1.98. So it's staying from around 1.976, something like that, to what, 2.20 somewhere. I think the highest was the first peace dollar I used. I think it was this one, almost 2.20, 2.19 right now. So that's the range. Now, when I put a different kind of coin on there, here is a little Susan B. Anthony. Let's put the Susan B. Anthony on there and see what we come up with. Different type of metal, totally not silver, right? This goes to 2.48. So you can see we get a different number. This is a copper nickel alloy, or it should be. And let's go ahead and put on here the coin in question that I've mangled up completely to death at this point. 3.91. That's a huge difference. There's a very different type of metal in here. It's very, very near to silver, whatever the metal is. It's got a lot of similarities. I'm kind of racking my brain trying to figure it out. Some people out there that are more familiar with different types of metals will probably know what this is, but it is way different, with the resistivity level compared to Morgan dollars and peace dollars, which is 90% silver. Like we're at a number again at 3.93. We put down a Morgan dollar and we're at 1.99. That's way different. And just for fun, I have a 999 fine silver round I'm going to put on here just to see what the number would be. 1.71. So you can see that really high number in this coin, quote unquote coin, is a different type of metal entirely. Anyways, let me know what you think about the coin. The coin. And big shout out again to Daniel from COINHELPU for sending this to me. I mangled it all up, Daniel. I apologize, but got to try to get to the bottom of this thing, Make sure you check out the link in the description of the video to see COINHELPU's channel. Like I said, he's a great channel, got a lot going for him, a lot of information, and he can definitely help you out with some things. So at this point, though, I got to go. Spegtacular is out.